In video games, a competent opponent can make or break an experience. When players are dealing with dumb or buggy enemies, it can ruin the game by making it either too easy, unfair, or worse. When players are faced with an intelligent, deadly, and interesting foe, however, a video game can be elevated to the next level. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and click on the links in the description to vote on upcoming content. There have been many video game enemies with brilliant and groundbreaking AI. In the top 10 video games with the best AI video over on Watch Mojo, we named Killzone 3 and Fear as examples of very intelligent AI, but perhaps none are more terrifying, effective, and fascinating as the Xenomorph from Alien Isolation. While Fear's AI is overall a bit more clever than the general enemy AI in Alien Isolation, we're looking specifically at the Xenomorph's individual AI, and how it pretty much surpasses everything else in gaming. In Alien Isolation, you are constantly harried by the Xenomorph, as well as by androids and irate humans as you are trying to escape the station. The alien hunts down the player throughout the entire game, showing up when least expected and in many non-scripted encounters in order to make life for the player difficult, or over. The game uses a macro-level AI to point the Xenomorph in the player's direction at any time it decides that the player hasn't had a good scare in a while, and tells the Xenomorph to back off when the player has been in a state of hiding or fear for too long, in order to give players a breather.
It doesn't follow any prescribed path or set of behaviours that are telling it to do specific things. It's just reacting to the player's presence and the choices that the player makes.
The developers used the term psychopathic serendipity, implying that the Xenomorph will always find the player when the moment is right. Not too often, but just enough to keep you on your toes. When the Xenomorph is not in the immediate area, it will travel ahead using the vents. The alien can appear almost anywhere, and often when the player is least expecting it. Meanwhile, a separate micro-AI guides the alien when it's in the player's proximity, setting the Xenomorph to start hunting around in seemingly random patterns, searching as best it can for the player in one of the most intense games of hide-and-seek ever created. The AI's behavior when hunting the player is cleverly designed, meant to induce stress in the player and make it difficult to predict the alien's movements. It patrols the area in a non-optimal manner, having prescribed locations that it will definitely search, but it will do so in no particular order, forcing the player to adapt to the present rather than being able to learn from its behavior in order to figure out a pattern. It will even randomly double back on itself sometimes, just to ensure that it hunted for you thoroughly, catching many players who thought they were in the clear way off guard. For the game designers at Creative Assembly, the challenge in creating the Xenomorph was in making and balancing what is ultimately an unkillable enemy that can one-shot the player in a way that presented it as terrifying but fair, without making it either too predictable or too cheap. There had to be a balance between the AI being cunning and perceptive without making the player feel like they couldn't outwit it themselves. If the player is hiding in a locker and suddenly makes a noise, the alien will immediately fling open the door and devour you, but it will never randomly make a guess and just find you. Thus, anytime the player is killed, it generally feels like it was because of their own mistakes or slip-ups. Each death teaches the player how to avoid and outsmart the AI, and the next time they encounter the creature, they will learn how to be stealthier and hide from the alien more effectively. But here's the catch: the alien also learns from the player, making it all the more terrifying and brilliant. The AI develops along with the character, exhibiting new behavior at certain levels, giving players the impression that it's learning from them, and also ensuring that the gameplay doesn't become too predictable, stale, or too easy.
Even if you find a gun, your first thought is going to be, if I fire this, will the alien hear it?
What this means is that while some sequences in the game are definitely scripted, most of your encounters with the Xenomorph are unique to your experience. The macro AI decides when and where to put the sucker, and its personal micro AI guides its hunting patterns and behavior as it searches for you. Alien Isolation is an incredible experience that stands on the merits of its unique approach to AI design. It's one thing to have excellent scripted horror scenes and jump scares meant to frighten players. It's a whole other thing entirely to design an AI that will allow each player to experience the horror of your monster in new and exciting ways each time. This simple yet effective design principle and the mastery with which it was fully realized is what makes the Xenomorph the greatest video game AI opponent of all time. Thanks for watching Mojo Plays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.